So, they're gonna create their own team called the Scream Team. Chapter 3. Practice is not perfect. Carl and the 5 other monsters met up the next night at the haunted bog. No trespassing. Signs were everywhere. Slime suckers oozed on the mushy ground, eating muck and releasing powerful, gassy explosions. And over it all loomed the town's scariest mansion, hanging on to the cliff side of the cliff. Patsy brought along 2 friends. She carried one of them in the basket of her bike. It was Eric the Blob. She plopped him on the ground where he quivered like a jellyfish. I like this book. Her other friend was Bolt, a Frankenstein's monster who Carl knew from math class. His body parts came from different people, and sometimes they did their own thing. One of Bolt's arms had belonged to the teacher's pet, so he always raised his hand in class, even when he didn't know the answer. Okay, with Eric and Bolt, we've got 8 monsters, Carl said. We need 9, though, to fill all the positions. Just then, a ghoulish screech filled the air. A shrieking ghost kid emerged from a tree stump and shot toward the monsters. Not one of them moved, not even Dennis, the scaredy vampire. What's wrong with you? The ghost demanded. Aren't you scared? I will gobble you up. I don't think you've got the room, Patsy said calmly. It looks like you just ate lunch. The ghost stopped. He glanced down at his see-through body to his stomach. A grilled cheese sandwich and parts of an apple sat there. He turned bright red. Right, the ghost said, suddenly smiling. In that case, can I play with you guys? I'm JD. And just like that, the Scream Team had 9 players. All the monsters made a circle around Carl. Why are we practicing in a bog? Mike, the swamp thing, asked. He scooped up a handful of mushy maggots and put them in his mouth. Ooh, maggots are what come from flies, like when flies lay eggs in your garbage cans in the summer and it's hot and it heats up, then you can get maggots in your outside garbage cans. Ugh. Squish bugs make good snacks, but not the best game surface. We can't use the real practice fields, Carl said. The Scream Team isn't an official junior club of the Monster League. Dennis was eating squish bugs now, too. But they'll let us play baseball this season, right, Carl? He asked, spraying spit and insect parts. Carl didn't know. He'd gone online to the JC Monster League website. There didn't seem to be any rules against them forming their own team. We just need to win the first game in a few days, Carl said. The real teams will see that they've made a big mistake, and then they'll invite us all back. Excited, all the monsters started talking at once. Beck, the Bigfoot, shouted above them. Who's gonna play what position, Carl? Well, I'll be pitcher, Carl said, and the rest, I'll handle it, Maxwell cut him off, trying to sound like a big shot. You, he shouted, you will play center field. His wrappings were so twisted, Maxwell couldn't tell. He was pointing at a tree stump. Carl pinched himself to keep from laughing. Well, we'll worry about the other positions later, he said. Let's just play some catch to get warmed up first. The monsters broke up into smaller groups and stood staring at each other. Something was missing. Mike finally said. Mike's the Blob, right? Mike the Blob? Who's the Blob? Oh, Eric's the Blob. Who's Mike? Who's Mike? I don't really remember. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. We're missing something. I think we need baseballs to play baseball. Ugh, Carl forgot to bring the balls. We don't need baseballs, he said, his mind racing. All the pros, can practice with, He looked around quickly and his eyes landed on a pus bag tree. Pus bags! Carl rushed over and plucked a jiggly baseball-sized bag off the tree. The others grabbed a few too. See? This is great! He tossed his pus bag to Eric. It hit the blob and exploded him all over. Ooh. Sorry, Carl said. That one was just a little ripe. He snagged another bag and this time tossed it to JD. The ghost caught it and threw it back. Before long, the pus bags were flying back and forth. We're practicing, Carl thought. Well, kind of. Some of the players were having a tough time even with catch. Still unable to see, Maxwell threw blindly to Beck. The Bigfoot shouted, I got it! And ran like he was wearing flippers. By the time he got there, on his huge flopping feet, the pus bag had landed and crawled away. Mike was partners with Eric the Blob. The pus bags were so slimy from Mike's tail that they slid right off Eric. Meanwhile, JD was throwing straight to Carl's mitt, but Carl couldn't get it to stay there. This must be a faulty pus bag, Carl said, but JD didn't have a problem with it. He caught every throw. Carl wanted to be the pitcher more than ever. He was way better at throwing than catching. After Carl dropped his sixth pus bag, he looked around the bog. Practice had gone downhill fast. Bolt was playing with a baby vulture. Maxwell was bossing around a shrub he thought was a monster, and Dennis gnawed at a rotting wet log as a snack. Carl, this isn't working, Patsy said, heading for her bike. Plus, I have a test tomorrow on famous famous beheadings. The other monsters started to follow Patsy back up the road. Wait, Carl said, panicking. Don't give up. We all want to play baseball, and the Scream team is our chance. And we've got a real conundrum on our hands, Patsy called back. Because without a coach, the Scream team is nothing but a mess. JD drifted over to them. What'd you say? Coach Conundrum? The ghost asked, turning bright white. Where? No, a conundrum, Maxwell said. It's like a puzzling question. Oh, phew, JD said. I thought you were talking about the Conundrum Brothers. That's their mansion right there. The Conundrums lived there? Carl said, gazing in wonder up at the scary house. Sure, JD said. Or they did. My family's been haunting this bog for years, and I've never actually seen them. They put up the no trespassing signs, and they're supposed to be really terrifying. Carl grinned. JD, you might have just found the answer to our problem. And it's another